See Karen and Tony. Good afternoon. It's Thursday, February 26th. It's just after 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time if you're joining us live. And if you're not joining us live, welcome anyway. Welcome and know that we're always happy to have you in our gathering, whether it's live or whether it happens in an apparent later time. Your presence is timeless, and we love having you here. So join us anytime. Today's reading is going to be, let's see, starting with paragraph 9 on page 299. I'm going to read our opening invocation while you find your place and set the tone. And then we'll jump right in. So settle in, find your place.
Page 299, paragraph 8.
Yes, Chuck, that is correct. Paragraph 9.
Oh, 9. Okay.
Yeah, paragraph 9.
I'm there.
Good. Chuck
So,
is getting ready because he's always the first one to read.
I've gotten into the routine of that now. So,
Well, let's just settle in and open ourselves with the invocation that the impulse comes to gather. And the quality of how we are together, how we talk, how we share, and even how we listen. This is our gift to the world. The purpose of every gathering is discovered in the gathering, but it's always to recognize beauty, which is truth, and to love what is beautiful, because the truth is love itself. Conversation rises out of every particle. It is all alive. Welcome to this empty table, a cleared place where something new can happen. When you take the hands of someone you love, what do those hands become? Let's take each other's hands across time and space and talk about finding the Advaita, or the non-dual, in A Course in Miracles. This is an interesting section. We may finish this section and then move on to a new one. But this section really hones in on the teaching from another angle. And the teaching is that Source Will, or what I'm calling today the everlasting everything, it really has only one will, and we are that. And there can't be anything else. And this instruction is so simple and so intimate, or so close, that we miss it. We overlook it. It's so simple. So I have some quotes from Vedic texts to share as we go along. And paragraph 12 gets really juicy. So let's see what happens as we read. I'm going to I'll just ask people to read as we go, because I know everybody here is willing. And so Chuck is going to begin the reading on paragraph 9, which is going to tell us that we can't disregard the Holy Spirit. It's impossible. So take it away, Chuck.
okie dokie. Even if you could disregard the Holy Spirit entirely, which is quite impossible, you could learn nothing from the ego, because the ego knows nothing. And there any possible reason for choosing a teacher such as this. Did I read that right?
Yep.
Does the total disregard of anything it teaches make anything but sense? Is this the teacher to whom a son of God should turn to find himself? The ego has never given you a sensible answer to anything. Simply on the grounds of your own experience with the ego's teachings, should not this alone disqualify it as your future teacher?
I
Wow.
love that last sentence. Should simply on the grounds of your own experience. And that is such a non-dual expression, asking you to inquire about your own experience and then decide for yourself whether the egoic sense of separation is something that makes you happy or not. Right. So you can't disregard the Holy Spirit because it's the self. It is the whole self, right? And it's the part of yourself that's never left the upper room and which is calling to itself even in every waking, seemingly waking moment. So what does your experience tell you about the nature of your reality? That's what this is asking us to do. What does your experience tell you about the nature of your reality? So put another way, what knows with absolute certainty what you are? And this paragraph is asking us to become intimate with that, to know it, right? To say, I want to know myself. I'm going to put this in the chat. And we can work around it if we want. So in the Advaita, your true nature, your whole I spirit, your true nature is defined as non-different, as the same as the ultimate reality, which is the absolute, formless, and eternal pure consciousness. And so as we go through this, just keep that definition in mind, and we can refer back to it in the chat, because that is the Holy Spirit. It's just not defined in the same way. And so often Western Christianity takes the Holy Spirit and puts it outside yourself. It says it's part of a trinity, right? But you are the Trinity. Right? So that's what this is asking us. It's asking us to do. The eternal observer. I'm going to put something else in. See if I can. Sometimes these things don't really fit, but I'll see what I can do here. These are the key aspects of your true nature in Advaita. The individual self is not separate from the universal self. The Holy Spirit, the true whole self, is pure consciousness, not the body, mind, and not the intellect, but the awareness in which this apparatus, called the apparatus, appears. It's also called the witness, the eternal observer. that observer which never changes, never shifts. It can experience anything and remain untouched by it, right? And it's beyond time and birth because we can't remember this awareness being born. We have no experience of its death. So just based on that alone, we cannot say that it's born or it dies. The least informed we can say is that we don't know, right? So this is asking us to recognize, rather than following the egoic sense of self, which changes and shifts and is so enticing and so interesting, right? So full of emotion and energy, and so easy to get lost in, right? But never giving us true happiness, right? So let's look at paragraph 10. I'm going to ask Mel, who's next in line on my screen, to read, if she would.
But the ego has done more harm to your learning than this alone. Learning is joyful if it leads you along your natural path and facilitates the development of what you have. But when you are taught against your nature, you will lose by your learning because your learning will imprison you. Your will is in your nature and therefore cannot go against it. The ego cannot teach you anything as long as your will is free, because you will not listen to it. It is not your will to be imprisoned, because your will is free.
Oh,
I like the joyful part.
I like it too. And it's going to get into what free will is a little bit more as we read. I like the true nature. I like the words true nature. It goes against your nature. The ego denies free will. Because free will is in accordance with God's will. This is such a paradox. This is why I said a minute ago that it's so close we miss it. It's so close. We think that we think our thoughts, but the thoughts we think arise within our awareness not from the personal mind. And this is what I mean when I say it is so close. It's just that little attosecond of a moment where the ego steps in and says, I thought that thought. I have that feeling, and I have to do something about it. I'm responsible for it, even if it makes me feel like crap. Good afternoon, Carol. Come to the head of the table.
Hi, everyone. I just love where learning is joyful if it leads you along your natural path and facilitates the development of what you have. It's not me, it's what I have. It's developing the ability to it's the playing with everything here that isn't I, but is created out of it. And
That we have. We have
yeah,
everything because we are everything.
exactly, but it's manifesting as little
Yep.
experiences or whatever. And that is what this is about, or at least that's what's playing out here. And that can be well, that is joyful when it's known that that's what it is. Then it can be like, well, it is. It's like playing cops and robbers, playing in my mother's closet or jewelry box, or making stuff out of paper mache. It's stuff that is aspects of creation, but it never does touch. It's just the experiences are known, but they're poof, 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 poof. Nothing sticks really, because it doesn't need to stick, because there's really nothing to figure out.
And I want to, that's right. Look at the first sentence here. But the ego has done more to harm your learning than this alone.
Yeah.
It has not harmed you. It doesn't say it has done harm to you. It hasn't harmed you, just as you just said. It's just the learning. It's the thought.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. Right?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Carol, do you want to read paragraph 11?
That is why the ego is the denial of free will. It is never God who coerces you, because he shares his will with you. His voice teaches only his will. But that is not the Holy Spirit's lesson, because that is what you are. The lesson is that you will and God, that your will and God's cannot be out of accord, because they are one. This is the undoing of everything the ego tries to teach. It is not then only the direction which must be unconflicted, but also the content.
Okay. I'd like to hear from you about this paragraph. This is a really lot in this paragraph.
But it's all happening as it should.
More than
It's
that,
just,
Carol. More. That's a general statement. Tell me more about what says in the sentences. You just read it in the last one.
I'm already in the last sentence. It is
Yep,
not
last
only
sentence.
the direction which must be unconflicted, but also the content. Yeah. When
I don't mean to put you on the spot at all, Carol.
when it's known that what you have is different from what you are, the wholeness as opposed to the little pieces of experience that are created out of itself, when that's known, then it's all the will. Everything that's happening is just happening. There's no problem. There's no mistake. There's only mistakes when it's believed that there's something outside that's happening that has some kind of power or control or plan or ability to go against.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to bring it in. Everything you said, I agree with. I want to bring it in even closer, even closer. So let's see what Sandra has to say.
Hi, Amy. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sandra.
Thank you for this. I'm so glad I get to be here this week. As you were as Reem was reading and you were talking, it just came in like Bill saying to Helen, there has to be a better way. And it's like everything they had learned from their egoic point of view was get ahead, study, go to Columbia University, teach, be a psychiatrist. All of that was not joyful. It was, and then the course starts being dictated to Helen right when they chose, and they wanted another way. And to me, it wasn't another, I mean, they may have thought, I don't know what they thought, but they may have thought that they were looking for another direction. They may have thought they were looking for another path to the same old goals. However, their world was turned upside down with the content. That's what I read from this, is that it's not about becoming a better ego. It's not about learning more skills for the egoic personality. It's about remembering who I am, and the content changes. Everything changes. That's what this said to me. It's no more striving, no more
Yeah.
learning in the old sense. This is about learning in a whole new way. And it's what we already are, as Carol just said. And yet we didn't know. We did not know. We were blinded to it. We were seduced or entranced by the life of the ego.
So I want to focus. Thank you very much. And again, both you and Carol are spot on. And so I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I am just moved to bring this in even closer to, and I'll try to explain it, and I might not do a very good job, but the ego denies free will. It denies it. What does that mean? It denies your freedom through its resistance to what is. What is, is. And when you deny what is, you limit your will. You limit yourself. Because the only thing your will is doing is saying no. So our free will is to will with what is, in whatever direction it goes, and with whatever content it holds. In the moment, right there in the moment. So God's will is shared with us. We are one with it as it arises in the moment. Right? This is so close. It's so close. Whatever arises in the moment is God's will. Right? And it may take us in one direction, but it's also the content, right? It has to be unconflicted, right? I will to will thy will. Word I am word through this intention. Yes, word I am word. I mean, it is not then only the direction which must be unconflicted, but also the content. The direction may be that the body gets sick. The direction may be that there's a divorce. The direction may be that someone says something that you don't like. So we go with it. We are not conflicted with it. We don't resist it. But then also the content, whatever arises in the content. I have an uncomfortable thought. I have a terrible dream. I have a resistance to something. This is not saying go ahead and resist unconsciously. No, it's saying allow it. It is arising in your experience, right? It is your free will to resist it or not resist it. But it is God's will that it arises in your experience. So allow it to be as it is, right? And forgive. Forgive, which is why forgiveness is your function. This statement, forgiveness is your function, is probably one of the most true things. If you could remember that every moment of the day, and it's not traditional forgiveness. We all know what forgiveness is. It is allowing as the witness, right? It's allowing as the witness, as the eternal observer of all objects, thoughts, emotions, the world, remaining untouched by them. That is free will. That's uncontested free will. Mel. Thank you, Mel.
So even if there is resistance, that must be God's will as well, right?
Absolutely.
Because everything is God's will. So even the thinking that you're the ego is part of God's will. So there's nothing that's not God's will.
No, there's nothing.
Okay. Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. But you do get to identify as God's will or as the ego. If you identify as the ego over and over again, then that's not going to be a good teacher.
But well, who's the you that's identifying, right?
The
Yeah.
one that's
Exactly.
asleep.
And
Yes,
and we get to choose. We get to bounce around that in
we
that
do.
facet.
We're not
Because
really
we're all like a diamond in actual, or like a little reflective ball. Like it's all just
happening.
It's all
imbuance, yeah.
is.
But
It's all
it's all happening in a sense where there is imbuance put forth onto it, and that imbuance is exactly our free will. Yeah.
yeah. And Mel is 100% on the money. 100%. This is like the advanced teaching that it all just is, even the ego is. And Eckhart Tolle says that as well. The ego is a phenomenal teaching tool in that it teaches you as consciousness how to remember that you're conscious, your consciousness, how to get out of the game of cops and robbers, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, and it's fine. It's all fine. Because the personal self doesn't wake up. It's not the personal self that wakes up. Right? This is why I said it's so close. It's so close. Carol, your hand is up.
I think I've forgotten what I was going to say. Mel said something, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, Mel always brings
Oh,
us
I
back.
know what it was. Yes. It's also absolute and experiencing identification with its machinery or whatever you want to call it simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like there's an absolute knowing simultaneous to the experience of, oh my God, why am I getting upset about this or whatever? Like it's just everything is like known. That's the and that which is known is bits and pieces of itself, I guess. So it's what we could say what you have.
Yeah. You have everything because you are everything.
Yeah, you're just
you're
playing
never not
out
that.
of your own stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so paragraph 12, Mel, you're going to have something to say about this one, I know. May, would you be willing to read paragraph 12?
The ego wants to teach you that you want to oppose God's will. This unnatural lesson cannot be learned, but the attempt to learn is a violation of your own freedom and makes you afraid of your will because it is free. The Holy Spirit opposes any imprisoning of the will of a son of God, knowing that the will of the Son is the Father's. He leads you steadily along the path of freedom, teaching you how to disregard or look beyond everything that would hold you back.
There's a lot in there. All right, I'm going to try my hand at this, and then please, we could really go into this paragraph. The ego teaches, it wants to teach you that you want to oppose the will of God. So the egoic idea is the idea that we can resist what is. Right? It's not the resistance itself, as Mel pointed, and as Carol has pointed, it's not the resistance itself. It's the idea of it even being possible. So we are free to resist if we want. But it's the idea that resistance is even possible that is the ego. That's the ignorance. That's the sleep. That's the sandbox. Right? So if we look closely at this paragraph, it goes deeper into an explanation that the idea of separation or of resistance cannot be learned. But it's the attempt that binds us. It's the attempt to learn that resistance can be successful and that we are that. That's what binds us. And is it bad to be bound? Is it wrong to be bound? Who is bound?
It just is.
It's
It's
just
rubber
aware.
banding.
It
Yeah.
is. It's just awareness
It's like a
binding.
muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When you stretch this like thinking, it just stretches out and then it stretches back in on itself and stretches out and stretch. It's yoga. It's yoga. Well, I mean that yoga is Advaita, basically. we're integrating that shit.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and the freedom here, the idea of freedom is really important in this paragraph. So we are free to believe that we are free to resist. We are free to believe that we are free to resist. And we all do that and choose that freedom until we don't. So it's when we hold on to the resistance, we are free to resist. But when we hold on to the resistance by judging it or blaming it or shaming it, that's when we are attempting to learn that resistance is real. Because we've removed the I am from the perception. We have identified with the resistance and then judge the resistance rather than remaining as the awareness and saying, resistance is arising. It's okay. It's just resistance arising. Who notices the resistance? I do. Right? But we're free to identify with that which is trying to control the resistance. We're totally free to do that until we choose not to. And the we is the monad, or the one that is not the personal self.
The one note song, which is just everything.
A one note
And
song.
it's, yeah. I've been thinking about the sun, the actual sun.
The actual song. And so the Holy Spirit, the whole I, the Atman, the Brahman that we are, the everything, everywhere, all at once. That opposes any imprisoning of the will of God's being.
Yeah. The entirety of the experience rests upon the like integration of like infinitudic attitudes. Otherwise, it's not it's denying whatever this is, which is, I guess, like, yeah, it's just
Yeah. Yeah. So the idea of the ego is still wishful thinking. That's how a course describes it. It's wishful thinking, right? And it's a mistake. It isn't true, but we're free to have the experience of it and see what happens, right? You know, obviously, it's a valuable experience to the all, to have the experience of itself as limited as a human experience and as even resisting itself. And how else could the self resist itself except if it goes into a sandbox and starts playing with an
yeah.
imaginary friend?
It's been helpful for me to realize it's like I've been thinking about it. There's such a swing in of the pendulum in the like complete opposite direction, where it's like it makes the momentum of whatever is like gonna I don't know, like whatever is happening, just like it can go to that complete opposite direction, and that like enfolds over like micro and macro, like over like apparent time, but it's just like it's just the triangulation of it, and like our responsibility of thought as like faceted blips of this. Yeah.
I love your movement, May.
Movement is very illustrative, and it's such an integration kind of like because it's nonverbal it's like it's a different kind of communication,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are we on paragraph 13? And May, you just read paragraph 12, right? So, Sandra, do you want to read paragraph 13?
Okay.
Thank you.
We said before that the Holy Spirit teaches you the difference between pain and joy. That is the same as saying that he teaches you the difference between imprisonment and freedom. You cannot make this distinction without him. That is because you have taught yourself that imprisonment is freedom, believing them to be the same. Believing them to be the same, how can you tell them apart? Can you ask the part of your mind that taught you to believe they are the same to teach you the difference?
I love that. This paragraph says to me, the small self is never going to wake up. It's just not going to wake up.
But what is all encompassing can have no opposite. It reminds me of the one from the beginning, which like I was thinking about that this morning. I was like that one like perfect peace only exists if there is not perfect peace, then it creates a state that does not exist. But only perfect, yeah. That was what really like drew me in a couple months ago. Like it just couldn't. But
And so that's why egoic thinking is imprisonment, right? Because it can't conceive of anything beyond itself, right? Right. That's why this paragraph says it takes the whole I spirit. And this paragraph is essentially undermining the egoic thought system. You know, it asks the question, can you believe that part of your mind that taught you to believe that it's limited, to teach you how you're not limited? Probably not. I mean, all of us have had the sense, that aha moment where we see beyond what we used to think. And we go, how could I have missed that for so long?
I feel like that happens to me every day. Like it doesn't stop happening. Like the love is so like like when you like really like tap into that, like despite any appearance, like I like just it's despite all appearance, but it's like it is all there just in infinitum, just like blip 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 blip. You can access it whenever, even if it's not like showing up, which then it just integrates in a completely different way, and it kind of does start like it does start showing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel so great. Like I feel like I have like a bunch of like my dream grandparents like right now. Like we just want to like study like and like do
I
it
know.
rocks and like
Yeah. Take a bath in this. That's what I feel like, is just taking a bath in it.
yeah.
You know, and we can know that we are thinking from the egoic thought system, even as we also know at the same time that it's not what we are.
It's
And
like this persistence of presence where it's like it's just the like trying to, it's practice. It's literally building muscle. It's building
literally,
muscle. And you have to forgive all of it. Like which is it's hard. It's hard. But also so rewarding when you finally get the like train on the track. You're like, mm-hmm.
and so that, May, about forgiving it, you have to forgive yourself for your ignorance, you know, forgive yourself for not recognizing what you are in truth. Because if you don't forgive that, which is a deep, deep gut level forgiveness, it's really unequivocally just in its cellular forgiveness, right? Then you will never open to the truth that you are the everlasting eternal, right?
I like cellular forgiveness.
And that's why forgiveness is our function. You know, that's your job description for life. You don't need to do anything else. You know, Sandra talked about how, you know, we think we have to get a degree or do this or go to college or do that. If you get a PhD in forgiveness, you are good to go. You know, that's what we're all here to do.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard forgiveness presented that deeply before. Outstanding.
It's because I've had a lot of practice, Chuck. Yeah. Cindy and then Patricia.
I would like to challenge the assumption that forgiveness is hard. I'd like to suggest instead that it's impossible for the small self to forgive, and very, very easy for presence. And what came to me as I was listening was just the cloud in the sky. The cloud will never know itself as sky. And as long as there is the decision to experience oneself and as the cloud, and if the cloud is trying to become the sky, it never can. But when it drops it and just remembers that it's the sky, then it's easy to let the clouds pass. So I've been hearing us, myself included, in a way that's gotten really loud in my space, how often we say aspects of this practice is hard. And I'd like to just, I'm saying it out loud for whoever, myself and especially, I'd like to challenge that. It's not hard. It's a decision on the sky. It's impossible for the cloud to ever be the sky. It's not hard for the cloud to be the sky. It's impossible. But I'm not the cloud. Like the cloud arises in me, and then as long as I don't hold on to it, it just leaves. So it's the same with all this conversation about will. As long as we give the egoic I separate thought system an inch, it will feel really, 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 really hard to surrender into the higher will. But it's just a thought. It's not hard for the truth of me to know who I am. It's not hard to know who I am. How could I be anything other than who I am? It's just a matter of letting there's a pull into pretending I'm something else, and I just have to continually choose to be who I am, right? To be the space.
Yep. I
So,
think paragraph 14 is going to really confirm what you just said, Cindy. Thank you for that. Thank you. Patricia and then Carol, and then if we have time, I'm going to ask Patricia to read paragraph 14. So,
what I'm aware of is that the ego is always there. And so isn't the divine or the Holy Spirit. It just is. It's just there. You know, it's like it comes and it goes. The thinking comes and goes. The feelings come and go. That's just how it is. It's like when I just kind of center in on that and, you know, simplify it, it just is. And knowing that I am not the sky and I'm not the clouds, I can see them, but I'm not that. And I am that. So it's all one. Thank you.
thank you, Patricia. Carol.
Yeah, there's it's just when there's knowing, there's absolutely not any controller. There's no control. It is already what it is, so to speak. I am. And everything else is just so there's not even a decision maker. There's nothing to decide. It's just the mystery of how reality, how what is, seems to be simultaneous with its experiences of itself. But there's really nothing like there's just no point really in trying. And that doesn't mean that you can't sit back like a blob because you're being lived. Like this body, everything is being lived. It's not alive on its own. And there's a knowing of that somehow.
Yep. And when we distinguish ourselves from God's will and God's being, that's when we limit ourselves, because God's will and being is unlimited, and that is the truth of what we are. So, Patricia, will you read us paragraph 14? Thank you, Carol. I think this is going to just confirm what you just said, Carol. Patricia, you have to unmute.
Oh, I thought I had. Sorry. The Holy Spirit's teaching takes only one direction and has only one goal. His direction is freedom, and his goal is God. But he cannot conceive of God without you, because it was not God's will to be without you. When you have learned that your will is God's, you could do no more will to be without God than he could will to be without you. This is freedom, and this is joy. Deny yourself this, and you are denying God, his kingdom, because he created you for this.
Thank you. When you have learned that you are the everything, everywhere, all at once, that is the ultimate freedom. And there is something to say, I probably am going to put myself out on a limb here. There is something to say about happiness and joy in that recognition. And we can say from the non-dual perspective that even unhappiness is the will of Source. It's just unhappiness. It's just a feeling of unhappiness that arises. And unhappiness usually arises in resistance, right? With the egoic thought system. But we are all pulled toward happiness and joy. We love that happiness and that joy. Why do we love it? We love it because it is what we are. And so there is something to be said for unhappiness being a guide to letting us know when we're out of alignment with our true self. Right? And that's not an unuseful thing. I mean, we don't just sit there and say, I'm unhappy. It's just the way it is, right? It's all oneness. Unhappiness is part of the oneness. That's only taking it halfway. Right? We have to come full circle on this.
It's fuel to like expand thinking, expand perception. Yeah. It's just
It leads us to inquire, what is out of alignment? What is wrong? Something needs to change. As who was it that brought that up right in the beginning? When Helen and Bill says, we got to do this differently.
Sandra, yeah.
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 So we can look at it if we want to, that this unhappiness just the big S self sending a message to itself through unhappiness. Hey, wake up. I'm pulling you back into myself. I'm pulling myself back into myself.
Yeah. And you love it. You love it. And that's exactly what love is thought. Like those are just equated. And it's like because there's this contrast, we get tripped up. We're like, that's not God. But it all just yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, I have to confess that I do not fully understand all that was taught today, but I'm going to just think about it for a while. But there is something I know is true, and it comes from what you just said, Amy. And there's something in this experience that requires the overcoming, and the transcending, the reaching upward. These are all inadequate words, but there is something valuable in that. Otherwise, we would just be conferring like a Tinkerbell with her wand, ding, So there's something so valuable, like we were learning about today in the goo. There's something valuable in the goo. And it does something, even though we're already perfect, it adds something. And that is a knowing experience that I have over and over again.
It's not linear, is it?
No,
It's not linear.
no, not at all. It's more circular. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What do
it's
you want to
Richard's
try to
teaching. Yeah.
describe it? It's like what you were talking about, forgiveness being the whole point. Why is there forgiveness? You know, it's an overcoming, it's a seeing differently, it's seeing past that ability that is innate coming forth through the experience. And when you talked about happiness and unhappiness, what is the happiness? The overcoming of the unhappiness. It's the breaking out of the darkness into the light and going, wow, this is so different than I thought it was.
And
That's all I have.
When I said it's not linear, I'm going out on the limb again here. I so appreciate I can do this with all of you, because I'm really I'm exploring as much as you are. When I think about unhappiness in a linear perspective, I can look at it and say, it's not good. I need to do something to make myself not be unhappy. Right? That's kind of a linear way of thinking about it. But then I can expand that by letting go of the egoic thought system, whoever's the I here, and say, well, I can see in retrospect how that unhappiness actually caused me to grow. And so that unhappiness actually was like a growth mechanism for me. And while I wouldn't choose it, I'm glad it happened. So then we could get to that perspective. Then we could get to another perspective that says, I am that which is witnessing all of it. And the unhappiness it's just a feeling. It's an object. It just is something that's arising in the awareness that I am. And then it's not teaching a lesson. It's not moving me anywhere. It's not actually doing anything. Then it just is. It's just an experience that's interesting to have, right? And Sandra, you talk about that all the time.
I had to say it again. I have to say it again. There's also an aspect of cherishing the unhappiness. There is a way, I don't know.
But we cherish it from the I am perspective.
Because we can see how beautiful
yes,
all experience is, and that cherishing of all of it. The line, you cannot make this distinction without him, that was read. With him, not him, you know what I mean, with the absolute, all of it is valued, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like we're trying to go from one thing to another. The process is, as you know, is
yes,
all valued, it's
I'm
all
getting-
embraced,
I'm feeling
even physical
to
pain,
ask a question.
even physical pain.
yes.
So, I'm sorry.
No,
Where
that's
did
all
the-
right. That's
ahead.
right.
I didn't mean
I
that,
wanna
but
hear-
I'm just gonna try.
We have hit the
Where
5
does the
o'clock.
where does the phrases undoing and rather undoing and removing the blocks come?
To love's awareness, to love's presence.
Called
Where does that?
acceptance.
It's just more than a doing, it's more an undoing. I've been hearing it. I can't explain what love is, but I can remove the blocks to recognizing or something. That just popped into my head. I've been hearing that, and I didn't hear that weave in through here.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you for that. So that it's always great to look at it from the other perspective of not adding to, but taking away. I'm going to ask Mel to close us out because it's
Oh, I just have two lines. One is that I picked up is that there's no non-dual is really no distinction between good or bad or happy or pain or joy. That's true non-dual. There's no distinction between that. And finally, for me, forgiveness is recognizing that there's no need to forgive.
that's straight out of A Course in Miracles.
Mhm.
Forgive them for what they have not done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing to forgive because you realize it's all one. It's all, so there's nothing to forgive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was all. Thank you.
So if I get anything out of today's teaching, it's that stay close, stay really intimate with God's will, because it is what you are, right? So stay present in the moment, as Cindy put in the chat, because God's will happens now,
Yeah.
right?
And that's what we were talking about on Tuesday with strength. Like that
Yes.
is strength. And I've been really into like ideas grow stronger when shared. You have to share, you have to give it to have all, give all to all. We used to say that a lot in here, yeah. That one's also helpful. Yeah.
I want to say thank you all. I'm going to read the closing invocation and then we'll sign off. We'll see everybody tomorrow at 10. Great discussion. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, fire worshiper, lover of leaving. This is not a caravan of despair. It does not matter that you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Still come, and yet again. So go out there and break your vows, and we'll see you tomorrow at 10. Thank you, Cindy. Enjoy your evening, everyone.
Thank you, Amy.